2021, time for our first edition of Eye on Terre Haute with Mayor Duke Bennett. Thank you so much for joining us, Mayor. And I think we'll start off with the pandemic. How are vaccinations going after the governor announced his vaccination plan for the state on Wednesday? How are things going here, and how are things going in general with the pandemic here in Terre Haute?
I guess from the people getting their shots, the thing that's really the focus right now is what we're seeing is not as many people are getting it as what we would hope to this point. And I don't think it's a Terre Haute issue. I see it as a statewide issue, but not as many are available as we thought. And then there seems to be a little bit of an issue with getting people to get the shots. And so whether it's just the system that's set up, which I think they're ready to go, but people coming and getting that done. As the governor rolled out his new plan, I think now you're going to have, if you're 80 years old and older, you want to be signing up today for that. And so I'm hopeful that once we've branched out, besides the healthcare workers, public safety officials, those folks, that more and more people then will begin to access the shots. And so, I think it's going really well if you just step back and look at the whole thing. But now everybody's kind of anxious to be able to access, and so I think that's going to be the key, is how quickly can they deliver it.
Okay, very good. Moving on to the General Assembly, they just started their new session for the 2021 year. Are there any bills that you're keeping an eye on personally?
Not this session. I mean, I'm watching to see what they do with TIF districts. Every year they try make an attempt to make it more difficult for us to spend TIF dollars. Not being critical of them, but it's something that I keep an eye on every single session. It'll be interesting to see what they talk about these emergency orders and the role the governor plays and how much power he has or not. There seems to be a lot of talk about that. So I don't think there's anything that I'm really overly concerned about that I'm all on top of. We are so thankful that they've helped us out with the food and beverage tax, casino, and a variety of other things, continue to get community crossings as part of the budget. So I'm just looking forward to kind of a quiet session maybe for Terre Haute this time, and then us looking ahead to next year's session maybe to approach them with things.
You mentioned the bills that are looking into limiting the governor's power in terms of public health declarations. From a mayor's perspective, what's your take on that?
I understand people's concern, but somebody has to make the call. We have a part-time legislature in Indiana, so we're only in session for either 3 or 4 months, depending on which year it is. And so the governor kind of has to make those calls. If they want to put some rules in place, I suppose that's fine, but somebody still has to be in charge, every day of the week. And so I understand why the governor did what he did. I think some of the legislators just want to weigh in on that. So we're going to have to figure out a way to make that work. As the mayor, I get criticized by people periodically saying, Mayor, you just need to make people wear masks, or you need to tell them don't have to wear a mask, those kind of things. Well, we don't have that power in Indiana. I can do something for 7 days and that's it. Then I have to take it to the city council. The county can do something more stringent because that's the way our government's set up. And so I think we're all learning a lot about municipal and county government, the role of the health departments, and what the governor can and can't do in an emergency like this. But it probably does need a little cleanup and some clarification. But at the end of the day, somebody has to deal with this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's not the legislature.
All right, moving on to my next topic, back in the city limits now, and I don't want to jinx this, Mayor, but so far so good when it comes to potholes this winter. Are you seeing a lot? And let's go over, if people do see potholes, how they can report them to the city.
Yeah, first of all, if you see one, just call 311, and we usually can get it fixed that day, or worst case, the next day. It's been pretty good so far. We haven't had that much rain, which then when it's wet and then it freezes, that's where the biggest problem comes from. And normally by now we've got a lot more potholes. So part of it is we've paved some streets, and so they're in good condition. We also started doing some crack sealing the last few years on some of our streets, which preserves the pavement. But we will see potholes as it gets colder and wetter. Just please call us and let us know. The faster we fix them, and that's less likely they're going to grow, because that's what happens. They just start getting bigger very quickly. I feel pretty good about we have got the right equipment and staffing in place. If people will just let us know about them, we'll be happy to get out and get them fixed immediately.
Okay. The Terre Haute Police Department building, are we moving along on that pretty well right now?
Yeah, we haven't started the construction yet. The closing got delayed a little bit. It was supposed to close last week, but there's a few little legal issues they're working through. And so you kind of have to, we need to own the building or be in a position to renegotiate our contract a little bit. So we're doing that right now. The lawyers are sorting that out, and they'll get started very, very soon. I was hoping I would have an answer here this morning, but I'll know something in the next couple of days, and they will get started on it.
Okay, very good. More steel going up at the convention center, so that's moving right along, it looks like.
Yeah, we're right on schedule. I know there's been some media updates recently from the CIB about that. I'm excited to see it going up, and we're staying within budget. So really right now, everything is going according to plan. We're supposed to open it up in May of 22. So we'll soon be we're a little over a year away from getting it open. But I think the timing is good because as COVID winds down and we can begin to start looking at these kind of conferences and these events that we haven't had for a while.
Right.
Timing will be good to get ours open to begin to be able to do some things. So right now things are looking great.
Very good, very good. And then a lot of people are asking about the casino. We got a couple of pieces of equipment on the site, but they haven't moved since they were parked there. Have you heard anything about where the casino is at this point?
Yeah, I hear things periodically, but it's really just tying up loose ends. That investigation is something that's kind of hanging around out there with the Gaming Commission that revolves around the Gary Casino, nothing to do with Terre Haute. But it just kind of gets bogged down in some of that. And so, the ownership there is committed to this. It's going to happen. I'm not worried about any of that. It's just a timing thing of clearing up some of these things, getting them out of the way so it can move forward. I would expect to see some activity out there very soon. I thought it was going to happen in December. I would expect it to happen in January.
All right, better late than never. Mayor Duke Bennett, thank you so much for coming on with us this morning, and we really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks, John, and Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year to you, too. We'll be right back.